So let's begin looking at how a traditional classroom works. In the traditional classroom, the child will come to school, and when they sit down into the classroom, the teacher then often will provide instruction on a skill. In this case, let's just say, for instance, that maybe they were talking about how to multiply fractions. So the teacher shows multiplying fractions up on the board. The kids copy down what they're supposed to be copying down from the board. They're all following the teacher just fine and dandy. Everything looks real easy. And then the teacher hands them some extra assignment, another 15 problems or something to be accomplished at home. The child goes home, they bring out their work, and they start looking at the questions, and all of a sudden they realize, uh-oh, I don't know what I have to do next. Maybe they didn't pay as close of attention as they should have. Maybe they didn't write down the next steps. Whatever those cases may be, they're often found in a situation where they can't proceed, which can cause frustration. And often, as I know as a classroom teacher, then the homework doesn't get accomplished and the skill never really truly gets learned. Sometimes we do have parents like yourself that could help your child in that time of need where you can show them how you learned that particular skill. But how many times, parents, have you heard your child say, "But that's not how my teacher showed me how to do it"? And then, although you understand as a parent that what you're doing and saying is correct, your child is under the belief that the teacher is the only one who knows what they're doing. So this also creates some more frustration in the household. So that's how, and then they come back to school in the next day. The work isn't often done, or perhaps they've learned a different method than what the teacher is showing. There's confusion abound. So what's a flipped classroom? Well, a flipped classroom is something that looks a little bit different. Now the homework is an assignment of watching a video, often just like the one you're watching right now. Sometimes they're very short and it's just isolating a particular skill. The child goes home, watches the video, and then often the teacher will give a question or two based on that very skill. So they can then try it, go back, watch the video several times. If they get hung up on a particular step, it'll be completely demonstrated there in the video on how to handle that particular problem. They come to school the very next day, and now they have some basis of information of what they're going to do in school that very next day. There's never really a question of what am I going to do in school today. Here, then the teacher can ask and answer questions based on the students' learning from the night before. Then the homework, which we traditionally have had, gets handed out in class, and then the teacher can then help the students solve their problems and answer questions as they go along as they're learning that particular skill. The gap seemed to be a whole lot less in this situation, where here the teacher is showing the exact same way that the video taught as that they're going to be teaching in the classroom. The same words are used, and so there seems to be fewer problems. So what are the advantages of a flipped classroom? Well, a flipped classroom has multiple advantages. One, even though it's not mentioned here, test scores seem to go up. Kids like watching videos at home. It doesn't seem like quite as much work when all they have to do is sit down and watch a video, something that depending on the household, very well could be happening anyway. At least this way here, it's an instructional piece of video. Students, when they're sick, if this way here they don't miss out on any of the classroom instruction, they can still sit down, in some cases, and still watch the video and not feel as if they've gotten too far behind. I will also, in connection with this flipped video, I'll be discussing this with you further at a later time, but children will be using a program called Google Classroom. And Google Classroom is an internet-based software that is free of charge that comes with their student email account, which they already have, and I'll be posting videos through their Google Classroom as well as assignments there in the Google Classroom. So if your child is sick, they can go ahead and watch the video for that day, or the next day as it may be. And then if they're still sick, I will also then post all the questions that I would have done in class. Although this is not the most ideal situation, your child doesn't have to feel as if they've gotten completely behind just because they're sick. Also, in preparing for a test, as I've mentioned here, children can go back and watch the videos. Oh, I don't remember how to do that skill. Let's go back and relook it, or make sure I know that skill. And my goodness, think about all the things we learn year-round for the Georgia Milestone, the big high-stakes test at the end of the year. Now, kids can go back, rewatch all those little videos from day one all the way through, just so they can have a remembrance of how to handle that particular skill. So students also, and then finally here I've mentioned that students don't have to feel that quote-unquote stupid in class by asking too many questions. This way here the child can go look at the video, watch the video again, and now if they have a particular question, they don't sound unintelligent. Where is it? What do you do with that to after you? They can be very concise, and also in class it'll be a small group setting where they don't have to broadcast it. They can come see me one-on-one.